Perfect. So, firstly, for those of you that are here, if you do not know who I am, my name is Ayobami Bakare. I'm a student schooling in Virginia Commonwealth University in the United States of America. And I'm on a fully funded scholarship. So many people on the YouTube, people are a funny set of people, to be honest, because somebody will explain something and then people will carry the entire thing and not understand. So firstly, what I want to say is I am not in a degree apprenticeship, number one. All of the YouTube videos that you see me sharing or making about degree apprenticeship, they're about my experience when I was on the degree apprenticeship path, when I was trying to get to study abroad through that path, and even including more research that I have done over the years that I have tried this. You guys, I had to go back to my emails and go and pop up all the companies that I applied to right from Nigeria, because so many comments about the fact that you're in Nigeria, you cannot apply for it, blah, blah, blah. So one thing I want to let people know in the first place is doing a degree apprenticeship is a job. You are applying for a job. Your school is literally 20%, right? You're going to be 80% doing like actual work, like an actual staff member. Let's just say you're a staff member in that company on contract. And in a lot of companies, once you graduate or once you are done with school, and they see that you're very, very valuable to the company, then they will retain you to become a full-time staff with them. Basically like an internship, but for the apprenticeship, you're going to be paid. Your school fees is also going to be paid, and all of the things you'll be needing. All right. So when I say like a degree apprenticeship is a job or anything, it's basically 80% work and 20% school. So if you know you cannot handle that, I don't think you should be in the right position to be applying for a degree apprenticeship. All right. And another thing is, every single time you are looking for a degree apprenticeship, you should not be looking at any university, because a lot of companies have universities that they have partnerships or that they work with. So you could be looking at like Bournemouth University, and the company you're applying to for degree apprenticeship might have only experience, or might have only partnership, or might only work with Middlesex University. So you can't go ahead and go and get admission to a school. You do not do that. Nothing concerns you with the school until you land in the UK. Because when you are accepted, or if you're accepted through the degree apprenticeship, by the time the company is going to make your visa, you're going to be coming in on a work visa, a tier 2 visa, which is a work visa, and you're going to be sponsored by that company. So your visa will be sponsored by them. And so by the time you go to the embassy, you're going there as someone that's coming to work in the UK. I told you guys, your school is 20%. So many people are so focused on the school aspect. You're going to work as an actual staff member. There are a lot of companies, you go into work 3 times a week, you go to school 2 times a week. And even those 2 times a week that you go to school, you would still communicate with your team members or with the company online. You will do remote work. You might have to go to a client site or a client's office, depending on the type of job that you do. Especially if you're doing something like accounting or auditing, you'll be moving around to different clients' location, and you cannot afford to fail in the job, because the job is basically paying for your school fees. All right. So a lot of people seem to forget that. And another thing is, when you're applying, you need to go to the company, not the school. Some companies, they offer degree apprenticeship, but they do not sponsor tier 2 work visa. What does that simply mean? So I'm just going to type tier 2. I'm going to share my screen in a bit so you guys can see what I'm saying. But if you have been looking for companies, I have been seeing that, oh, I cannot apply from outside the country, because you've been applying or looking at companies that do not sponsor tier 2 work visas. A tier 2 visa in the US is basically a work visa. But any company that doesn't sponsor it means that as an international student, means that they are not actually legalized or authorized by the UK government to actually sponsor people. So it's not that they don't want to do it for Nigerians, to be honest, because I used to feel like that when I first started my own journey. It's more or less these are the rules. Even in the US that I am, there are some companies that are not authorized to sponsor your work visa. All right. So as I was saying, a lot of companies do not sponsor tier two work visa, even though they still have degree apprenticeship. And that's what a lot of people on the YouTube channel have been looking at. They refuse to actually research and actually find out that there are companies that might not sponsor your work visa. So even at the end of the day, there are some companies that they will allow you, the system is going to allow you to apply, even though they don't sponsor tier two work visa. But once you get to certain stages of the application, they'll just cut you off. After you have written essay, after you have done interview, virtual exam, virtual assessment. But because they don't sponsor tier two work visa, they're going to cut you off. While in some companies, once you're about to start filling the application form, once they ask you location or country of origin, the application is just going to close and tell you, nope, we do not accept application from these places because we do not sponsor tier two visa, right? So now to the main thing. What are the documents you need? Basically, there's degree. When I say degree apprenticeship, I'm basically talking about level 6 degree apprenticeship, which is what allows you to do your bachelor's degree in the UK and work at the same time. So yes, they are going to be paying you salaries. I think I forgot to tell people that they're actually going to pay you good money as a student. I think like the least you would see is like 16,000 or 20,000 pounds, depending on the kind of job that you get or company or location. So level 3 is basically for people that want to come and do their A levels. I do not know anything about that because I did not follow that part. I have not even researched on it. I just know the levels so that when I'm applying on something like Prospect or UK Gov, I'll be able to know the level to look for. Level 7 is basically masters or graduate students. And then level 5 is like higher. Level 4 is also higher. That's basically foundation level. So for some people, or the way I would say it is like in a lot of universities in the US and the UK, before you do a particular course, they're going to have you do like your foundation year. So that's what level 4 and 5 is for people that are coming to do their foundation year. So now, before I continue, number one, can everybody actually hear me? And number two, is there any question before I move on?
Yes, Rick, I can.
All right. So if you have any question, please make sure to stop me. And I hope you're actually understanding every single thing. But anyways, while I continue the meeting or wherever we stopped, once, like I said, what is going to determine if you're going to apply to a company or not is whether they sponsor a tier 2 visa, because if they don't, you cannot come to the US on your own. That means you would have to have the right to work and live in the UK. You have to go and get that on your own. And for a lot of people, what they do is get a job so that the company is going to sponsor them, which is basically the same thing that a degree apprenticeship does. The only addition or the only benefit of a degree apprenticeship is that as you're working, the company is paying for your school. Some companies give accommodation, some companies don't. Some companies have accommodation for all the students that are doing apprenticeship in one apartment complex building. So everybody can actually just live in one place or share an apartment. So, and if you're a very, very serious student and responsible person, that salary that they're giving you should be enough for you to actually take care of yourself, and in some cases, even send money home or save or invest. That's something to keep in mind. It's not all the companies that are going to retain you, and you need to understand that you're not on a student visa, you're on a work visa, right? So most companies do retain. So now something that now that we know that, I'm just going to share my screen And then I'm going to show you like examples of companies that have tier 2 visa sponsorship and examples of companies that do not have. So one thing is each company has their own requirements. Most times they're just going to ask you to submit your CV and your WAEC results. They would, some companies, especially if you're doing something like anything sciences, anything computers, what else? Anything health, because yes, hospitals also have degree apprenticeships. You just have to look for the ones that are sponsoring that are going to sponsor or that are willing to sponsor, because they're very long and tedious and expensive process for the companies. All right. So now if you're in sciences like cybersecurity, you're in health or courses like that, they require you to have taken certain subjects. Like you would see certain companies put it there that if you want to do the software technology degree apprenticeship and get your bachelor's degree in so school, your minimum result, or they call it GCSE level, which is basically our WAEC, or for people like me that wrote IGCSE, you can actually still submit that to them. It's still the same thing. IGCSE is like a British exam. WAEC is also acceptable. You don't need to panic yourself. I've never heard of anybody submitting NECO, so I do not know anything about NECO, to be honest. But I've heard a lot of people say like NECO is not recognizable outside of Nigeria. I've never tried it, so I wouldn't know about that. We're just thinking of using NECO, including GC, so I have no idea. I feel like these are just national exams. WAEC or WASI is basically West African, and that's why a lot of other countries or European or other countries around the world, that's something they recognize a lot for almost every single Nigerian. I think every Nigerian. So if you're doing something like sciences, health, they'll most likely ask you for things like, oh, you should have a minimum C in physics, a minimum C in geography, a minimum C in English. It's basically a minimum of C for a lot of this degree apprenticeship. So you should know with your results that this, if I can apply here, that's good. If I cannot, let me carry my load and move forward. That doesn't mean you should not still apply, because to be honest, it's a job, right? They're just looking at your WAEC result, because they're the ones that are going to speak to the school on your behalf. That's why if you go to a lot of schools, you will see them putting it, you must have the right to work, you must have the right to work and live in the UK, because they expect you to have gotten all of that from your company. Then your company reaches out to them and tells them, oh, we have students or we have workers that would like to school and we're going to pay for them. And then that's when the process begins, right? So it's not something that you're not going to really do the school issue by yourself. It's the companies that are going to do everything. You are a staff first, you are a worker first before a student. And a lot of universities are very lenient with like degree apprenticeship students. One thing they also do is they have a separate program for them. So you could go to a school's website and think, oh, I want to do nursing. But if you go under their degree apprenticeship and click you want to do nursing, you most likely do the same thing, but in different ways. Like they know that you have to go to work. So there's different schedules and deadlines and things that are in place to make sure that you're doing well and that you're excelling and that you're passing. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this is, I already literally listed out or I already searched out these companies like since the beginning of this week, because a lot of people like kept on saying, oh, it's not possible, and it's really annoying when you don't do the research that someone else has done and you're not seeing the same thing. That doesn't mean that thing is not true, that it doesn't exist. Okay, so this is a company for basically media students. So one thing to understand or take note of is that a lot of companies have 2 to 3 degree apprenticeship. So a company that is doing, let me see the word now. A company that is into media is definitely going to have a customer service degree apprenticeship. They're going to have a business and technology degree apprenticeship. So now when you're applying to all these companies or when you're looking through, like I said, nothing concerns you with school. You're literally going to check, now, how do I know what degree apprenticeship they have to offer me? How am I going to, you can see these are the degree apprenticeships that they have, and then you go on to read about it, right? So for this particular company, what they're, and something to understand is almost every single degree apprentice, you are going to write an assessment program. You're going to write an assessment, you're going to write a virtual exam, and in some cases, you're even going to write a physical exam. So for me, what really put me off was the fact that I was applying to a lot of programs, and I was literally, I would pass the first stage, and then in the second stage, I would not get like the second stage in the degree apprenticeship that I was applying to, and so I kind of just gave up. But one thing about it is that you need to study. A lot of times I thought it was just the normal math and English exam that we usually write. So when I go into the exams, for most of them, I knew them because I was a business student, but majority of them, I did not know anything about it because I wasn't expecting it. And these exams are timed. So you have like 30 minutes behavioral assessment, and they're asking you, if this happened in the company, what would you do? There was literally one that I did for Morgan Stanley, bro. First stage, at this end of story, because it was, I did not even know half of what they were asking me. They didn't ask me normal math questions. They were just asking me like square plus circle plus triangle equals a star. What would you do? Blah blah blah. And funny enough, those kind of questions, I've actually never sat down to study them. I wrote so many exams like that for this degree apprenticeship because I didn't know that most of their questions were similar. And so that's something that I'm hoping a lot of people will take out of this Zoom meeting and or this YouTube, is that everybody's experience is not going to be the same. I might be sharing my experience with you. I might be sharing my research with you. If you cannot go and research on your own, or if you cannot follow the steps in the YouTube channel, that does not mean that it doesn't exist. That does not mean that it's not possible. Is it hard? It is very, very, very rigorous. Very, very rigorous. You're gonna, I don't want to say it as far to discourage you, but you're most likely going to receive a lot of rejections more than acceptances. And I think that's how it is for a lot of people, or a lot of students, because in the first place, they want students or people that are going to add value to the company, people that can actually cope with work and school, and people that they are willing to spend enough money on to process their work, sponsored work visa. So for this particular company, in their customer service degree apprenticeship, you can see that they're saying that CVs aren't everything, but you're still going to submit your CV. And so they want to know who you are and the potential you bring to Sky. And so they're saying that's why we have a unique assessment approach that involves a series of questions and a video round followed by an invite to our virtual assessment center. So you can actually see that there's also digital assessment, and these are the things that they're going to ask you to do. They're going to send you links to your email. So if you have an email that you don't check regularly or periodically, I really want you to do that. I want you to get an email. And then it says like assessment center is basically the final stage, and that you're going to do an individual interview and individual exercises, and they're going to prep you for it. And then once you've completed your assessment, they'll let you know when they'll get back to you, right? And so basically that's just what Sky does. And so for example, now some companies would actually put it there that this is the bachelor's degree course that you're going to do if you do this degree apprenticeship, right? This is the school you are going to do it at. So an example of that, you can see here that Sky is actually good to go. You're good to apply to Sky for customer service degree apprenticeship or business and technology degree apprenticeship, depending on the apprenticeship that you want to do. And so for a lot of you, I think you would need to actually work on your CV. So if you do want me to actually look through your CV for you, please send me an email. Another thing that makes you stand out is writing cover letters, but most people in the professional world will say, oh, they don't like writing cover letters, but they are in the professional world. You're still a student. You really shouldn't. It can be very, very draining at times, or even most times, writing a cover letter for every single job. But if you're someone that is maybe you're just applying to accounting roles, then you're definitely going to be able to use the same cover letter in a lot of companies. So if you want me to look through your CV, if you're like, I'm not sure if the CV is good enough, or I don't even know where to start for my CV, you can literally just use Google and set CV templates and create one for yourself. or download the templates. Most of them are free of charge, so you should not have to pay for it. And then this is the business, the technology and business apprenticeship. So you can see here the different locations for those of you that have location preference. For me, I don't think you should have location preference, especially if you live outside the country. And so they have the business apprentice, business administration, field engineer, finance, marketing, security, resilience, and safety, technical marketing. You can literally see like there's so many courses under that, and so you can actually read here, what am I going to be doing, right? And they're saying here that the program is 2 years, and then they're also telling you that once you finish the program, you're going to start as a permanent staff, and that's data technician level 3, which is why it's good to know the levels. So this is for people that want to do their A levels, basically, right? So you don't want, you can see the deadline and then you can apply. You don't want to actually apply or do something or apply to companies that only have 2-year programs. Some companies have 15-month apprenticeship. So it's not every company that has an apprenticeship that has a degree apprenticeship. A degree apprenticeship is basically just the bachelor's and master's. So even at that, you need to be careful, because if it's a level 7 degree apprenticeship, that's for graduate students. So almost every company in the UK has degree apprenticeship, but not every company that has a degree apprenticeship sponsors work visa. So like basically, how do I know the company if they have degree apprenticeship? What I just did, I literally put the name of the company, then degree apprenticeship. You can always just put the name of any company you can think of, Adidas, Nike, GSK, Oreos, whatever, chocolates, companies, whatever, you can put it and you will find it. All right, so I'm gonna go here, and this is for Jaguar Land Rover cars, right? And so Jaguar Land Rover has different ranges or range of apprenticeship. It's literally so extensive, and that's why it's good to know the levels. In my YouTube video, one of them actually explained what the levels mean, so you can know what to do. All right, and so these are the programs. You can see that they have a level 3 advanced apprenticeship. They have a level 6 digital technology, blah, blah, blah. So they're saying here that you can see that Jaguar puts the course that you're going to do at the university, whether you opt for software engineering with data analytics, or cybersecurity, your course at University of Warwick. So they are telling you the school. So now Jaguar works with University of Warwick. If you have gone to go and get admission in another university and trying to get Jaguar to pay for you or for your school, it doesn't work like that. This is professional level 6. So all of this is like bachelor's degree. And so you can see the courses here: product design and development, electrical or electronic technical support, control technical support, and manufacturing technical support. This is the salary. Jaguar tells you the requirements. You can see that they're asking you to have C or above. So the minimum grade to have is C, but you must have a grade of B or C in maths plus another A-level course. So they're specifically saying, let it be C or above, but your maths must be B or C, right? So that's something to keep in mind. You can see level 6, supply and chain logistics and all of that. And then level 7 is for obviously master students. You can see that it's also closed. And something to keep in mind is also like the duration. And you can see here for the master student, they're telling them your grade, whatever subject you read at grade, should be at grade B or above, and one must be a STEM subject. So if you're coming to do like a master's degree or something, you obviously know it's not the same thing. So these are the things that you're going to benefit, and all of that. So you can actually buy a car and all of that. And then the application process, Jaguar is telling you that they do not need a CV or cover letter. You complete your online application, telling them about you, your motivations and your experience. Then you click started. So for a lot of people, that first stage, not everybody, after that first stage, not everybody progresses to the second stage. You basically have something like, oh, everybody's going to fill out the application. Then they're going to go through and say, okay, you passed, or okay, now you're going to do the telephone interview. And then that's going to determine if you move on to the assessment stage. But you can see that Jaguar here is asking you to do a series of tests, and that your scores will determine whether you move to stage 3. So Jaguar basically has 5 steps. So I'm going to go to the FAQs. I'm seeing now that Jaguar looks like what I like. Jaguar looks like something that I can actually do and all of that, right? I want to see, if they're actually going to, sponsor my work visa. You can see that Jaguar says there is no relocation for you, that you would have to move your sites, your education, and everywhere by yourself. So I'm trying to look at the funny thing is, like, it says on here, like, oh, they are not mentioning anything like the degree apprenticeship and all of that, or sponsorship. So you can see that if you don't meet up with whatever they're asking you to, that you can actually email them. So now that I'm not seeing these two, just to make sure that I'm crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's, so I'm just going to do just Jaguar sponsor visa for apprenticeship, right? Because I need to know, are they going to sponsor the tier 2 visa? And so there are some things that you might not find like easily. So as I was saying, I want to make sure that I'm checking every single place and making sure that they still, offer the degree apprenticeship that I'm looking for. And so if I do, you can see that a lot of them are actually already closed for students to resume next year. So that's another thing. Most of the companies that actually sponsor tier 2 work visa are closed, and like, so this might be something that you're going to have to take extensive time to actually search for. So this is basically just telling you what you would do in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. To be honest, I just want to show, like, if they sponsor visas, so we don't end up applying to the wrong thing. For me, I wasn't able to apply to a lot of the apprenticeships also because of the fact that I started applying late, and so most of everything was actually closed. So to be honest, I'm not going to discourage anybody, but if you're applying by this time, just know that most of the good, let me not say most of the good ones, yeah, most of the good ones, just few would actually remain. So you can see here that you're going to be in West Midlands, and then you're going to get a BSc honors fully funded by Jaguar University. So you do supply chain, and you can actually specialize in any of these 4. For this one, the applications are going to open in January. They're going to close in March. What you will need, you need to have you need to have 3 A levels at grade C or higher, of which must be a STEM. So there's so many things. So they're also telling you that you need to contact the recruiting team ahead of submitting an application. We do not have A levels. So that is something to keep in mind. Yeah, so it says that the first 3 years you're going to study part-time and you're going to be at Ashton University if you're going to do supply chain management, right? So I think for some people, obviously you're allowed to have preferences as children of God and as people. So once you have like the preferences, another thing is most of them have like information sessions there that you can actually just time and join and be like, okay, I want to ask my question. And they are the best people in place to actually answer you. They're the best people in place to answer you. And another thing is that you might apply, but it's not going to be so you can actually see here what your study timetable will look like. You'll be a full-time, a minimum of 6 hours of your week will be spent studying. Like I told you, schools work together to help you pass, and that they would offer different things depending on the apprenticeship. So if I go to another company, they might not be as, one thing I've noticed is that Jaguar is actually very, very detailed, telling you like the university you're going to go to, what you're going to do in year 1, 2, 3, 4. Not every company has that option or gives you that, to be honest. And so this is another company. This is Goldman Sachs. And if you don't know how to search, you can actually just go to any company, go to their careers or work with us and search whether they have. You can see that this one is under students, programs, and internships. For Jaguar, theirs is literally just under, that one is just under career, it's under careers or early careers. And you can see undergraduates, you can see for people that want to do internships, that for people that actually want to work with them, and apprenticeships. So don't just think because they are listening to on the website, automatically an apprenticeship is really, really different. And so the deadline for the location is London. And this is saying that you will get an applied finance at Queen Mary University, London. This one, Goldman Sachs telling that you have the potential, like they're not guaranteeing you a full-time position with the firm. This is if you're doing engineering, you're going to do digital and technology solution. If you're doing operations, you're going to have BSc finance and investment at the London Institute of Banking and Finance. So there are different universities that you're going to apply to and all of that. You can see here, ensure their A-level subjects and predicted grades. That's if you don't have your WAEC yet or IGCSE are clearly outlined on their CV. So this is something that you need to read and be like, oh, okay. Do they have this option? What are they asking me? What are they requiring me to do? Right? And so whilst I'm doing that, I'm just gonna do those Goldman Sachs. So I want to make sure that they're going to sponsor everything. I want to make sure that I can actually apply. I want to make sure that I'm not just doing back to forth, because even in the US here, like I said, I'm not on the degree apprenticeship part because I didn't pass a lot of the exams. I literally just give up. I forgot about it. So I just shared it with people that might want to look like it. This is saying that what should your CV be? If your CV doesn't meet that standard, the system will not accept it. And They're saying you can submit up to 3 location preferences. If you cannot find a location on the position preference screen, it means there are no current vacancies in that location. And subdivision. So if you did study business or economics, they're saying yes, you can still apply. You cannot apply for the summer position and the internship and all of that. So you cannot apply to a location for which I currently do not have a work visa. They're saying here that we cannot advise you on your work eligibility status, but we do not reject any candidate because of his or her need to obtain appropriate work authorization. You are free to apply to any division or region of interest, and we will consider your applications for the corresponding areas of the firm. It should be noted that any offer of employment issued will be subject to immigration approval being obtained prior to your start date with us. Right? Can you see, like, there's so many things. This is telling you that Goldman Sachs is not responsible for sponsoring anybody. So you cannot just go ahead and actually, say, okay, I want to apply, I'm going to apply. So you can see that just very few out of all the companies I've been showing you. So this is for Samsung. They have all of these different locations that you can actually apply to. As of now, I think Samsung does sponsor. And then if you're a graduate student, you would most likely, let's say you want to come and do your master's or your master's. Deloitte is a very, very good company that sponsors work visa for graduate students, and Jaguar Base Systems, which is this company, and Unilever do not sponsor. So there's so many. So for Morgan Stanley now, I'm so sorry if this looks weird, but I kind of already researched this. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you do not research for coming, so sorry for you, but I do hope you are gaining. After Morgan Stanley, I'm going to stop and allow you actually, so you can see Morgan Stanley. I went to careers, and then I'm going to look for opportunities for students and graduates. So if there's literally any question at this point, please let me know before I continue. So yeah. All right, so you can see that Morgan Stanley here is literally going to allow you pick the university you want by yourself. But the common thing, or the thing to do, is picking the university that's close to your company, if possible within walking distance, so that it will be easier, right? So that it will be very, very easy to go from place to place and all of that. I want to look at what are the qualifications. What are the things that they will need? What are the programs that they have available? And yes, I applied to Morgan Stanley also, but I actually didn't pass the exam, or that thing as at that time. So you can see this is a technology, blah, 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 London, 4 years, this is what you're gonna do. Requirements, minimum of B. You can see that you must have also done computer science or mathematics, passion for technology, good attention to detail, and all of that. Basically, they're going to tell you those are the things they require. And what I think that a lot of people fail to understand here is that a lot of times you're going to just create this email and this registration thingy, quote and unquote registration, and it will like direct you. So what a lot of people fail to realize or fail to understand at this point in time is that a school or a company is available for degree apprenticeship doesn't mean you should not still do your own research. Because like I said, all of those companies that I went to, just few companies had degree apprenticeships. So I literally cannot sit down on this Zoom meeting and do the research with you, right? So I've shown you how to do it, what to search for. You can always reach out to me via email if you have questions. I'm going to post this on YouTube. So if you have more questions to ask, that's totally fine. And another thing would be I might still do a YouTube video just explaining all of these things for people. But at the same time, I feel like if you cannot sit down and research, you do not deserve like extra pampering, to be honest. So that being said, there are many companies that many websites. One thing I always tell people is ensure that you're reading from the company's original website, and you will know if you're at the company's original website, right? Make sure you are there. You should end in .com for the company, like the name of the www, the name of the company.com or .org or .co.uk. That's how a lot of companies are. Another thing to keep in mind is these companies also have degree apprenticeships available in the US, and it's literally the same thing. You must have a work visa. They must be able to sponsor your work visa to come to the US because you're coming in as a worker, as a member of staff, as a staff. All right, so that's something to consider if you want to do UK or US. So some companies do have branches. Some companies do allow you to travel around to other countries like Spain, Luxembourg, and all of that. So that's totally up to you. So all of this will determine the kind of company you're applying to. But I feel like the number one deciding factor would be if God really wants you to go on this path, because I feel like one of the reasons why I didn't pass almost all of those exams was because God did not want me to go on that path. And even as I'm here in the US, I have written those kind of exams and I have passed them. But as at that time, I wasn't passing them. And this was like 2021. Yeah. So it's recent, but not too recent, if I would say, or even 2020 as at COVID or so. So please and please, I want you guys to do your research, reach out to me if you're facing any difficulty, or if you feel like there's anything I did not touch on. Definitely you can comment on the YouTube. You can actually just let me know via email so that I can include it in the YouTube channel and all of that. But thank you so much. I will see you guys. Make sure to turn on your post notification for other videos. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, and make sure to watch the videos. Make sure to like them. All right. Remember, 20 likes on the good news video is going to get us our podcast. That's for people that actually need a podcast. Of course, you're very, very welcome. And like I said, if you know people that have other questions and all of that, I'm going to upload this video on YouTube because I know so many people had like network issues and all of that. And I understand it's not a crime. I know Zoom also eats data or Wi-Fi. So I'll see you guys. Hope these people are able to actually watch it if I'm able to upload like after struggling. Okay. Bye. All right.